computer. Okay, back to the issue we're talking about. Sorry, we're late. Okay, so even though issues, merge requests, and snippets all have award emojis through the same concern, so they all in theory are having award emojis, and that concern is called awardable. There's an awardable concern, has many award emoji. And so they all have award emoji through this awardable concern. But this weird behavior with other non-award emojis not saving is specific to the issue model, I think. I did experience some like weird flakiness in all of this with Spring. I've now disabled Spring locally, so Spring is not an issue anymore, but I did have some issues.
Okay.
So this is specific to issues. It's specifically when an award emoji is on it, and I know how to fix it, which is if I remove inverse of. So if I remove this inverse of from the has many award emoji, it works. Everything saves as expected. And so you could say, well, just remove that. And maybe that's something we should do. But I really want to understand why. I really want to understand why, because it's so weird to me that this is happening on just this one model when they all have this defined on them the same way.
So is it always the note that doesn't save?
It's any other has many relations. So it could also be labels are another thing that another relation on an issue or a merge request, not on the snippet. So I didn't add labels to this because snippets don't have labels, but if this test were just for issues and merge requests, I could also create labels and the labels would fail to save as well. So it's any other relationship. And I used bybug and I like stepped deep into the code. And like, it's hard because it's very deep in ActiveRecord that it's happening. We can do that together. Actually, it's pretty fun going back.
You'll get weird jumps when you start to get into the.
Yes, exactly. You get like really deep and then you're like, oh, just step forward and then you're in this weird place. But basically what I observed is that the parent object, because when you call save, the way that the other objects are saved on a parent ActiveRecord class is with this autosave associations module. It defines a method on each one. And when you first go in that, you can see that the parent, that the issue or merge request or whatever it is has notes on it. And then at a certain point that gets nulled out. So basically like my hypothesis is that somewhere the object ID changes, like it's reloading the parent object. So it loses all the other subrelations because the award emoji is saved first. So I think somewhere in the process of saving the award emoji, because of the inverse of attribute being set, it like reloads the parent and then the parent loses all of its other children because they're just in memory. They haven't been persisted yet because the issue has already been persisted at this point. So I lost a week of my life to this. I'm going on week 2. I'm so determined to understand the problem. So anyways, do we want to look at this was the other issue that somebody pointed me to that they said felt related, and it does feel related because it's related to inverse of. And I went deep into inverse of, and I gotta say, I don't fully understand it. Because it used to be that you had to set inverse of, and now you actually don't. Inverse of is set by default, but in Rails 7, there's an option, and we have it set to nil. There's an option to automatically set inverse of, and we're not using that yet. So I would love to just more deeply understand inverse of. That's what this blog post is about.
So my understanding of inverse of, if I'm remembering the right thing, is basically if you have some sort of unusual naming of the two sides of a relationship, then it just allows you to kind of be specific about that. And usually the default naming will work correctly. Or is that right? Or am I?
So I think that's what like the Ruby on Rails guides say. like, well, I don't know. The Ruby on Rails guides say actually nothing very helpful. This is not very helpful.
Not much.
Yeah, and it used to be that. Sorry, let me look at this. JY. I have too many branches. I had a branch because it used to be that for polymorphic relationships, you like had to include it or something.
Right.
And we have one defined somewhere that's like, oh, here we go. So general case. Here's a question about how to use our product. Like, how do I do a branch comparison on this view right now? I want to view
Start a
this
merge
versus
request.
master. Is that what I have to do? Like,
Start a merge request with this branch as a source, and then the target is master.
Is that the
That's
only
how
way?
I-
There must be another way to do it, surely.
there's gotta be another
Not
way.
sure.
It drives me batty. Let me
Must
do
be a diff.
how do I do view like the slash commands available here? Oh, no, not that. The like shortcuts.
Hold the question mark. I'm not sure.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Shift question
yeah.
mark. So is there a diff? No, compare. MR, merge. It's honestly, so anyway, sidebar. This is a feature we need. Give me a button, a compare button. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, time to
So
pivot this call then.
yeah, sorry,
Let's
exactly.
implement that.
Actually, let's give ourselves a feature. Merge request. New merge request, like that's select first branch. And oh wait, so there is a way to yeah, it has to be an merge
Yeah,
request.
this is what I
Goodness.
usually do. Yeah.
That's just like not how it's supposed to be. Um,
We clearly have the code to show that. It's just
yeah.
the UI isn't there.
So anyway, so I found this old issue about like inverse of was needed for something, I guess because this was a concern. It seems like we set inverse of in a lot of places. And then I did get deep into the Rails repo and different pull requests. And it was, I think, a contributor from GitHub who was like, it's better for performance because there's memory optimization to always set inverse of. So like it looks at memory instead of the database. This is a really confusing example, by the way. And like, I just don't like it. Anyways, another sidebar. So it saves you a database lookup to use inverse of as well. I think there's a naming issue that Malcolm brought up, but there's also a memory optimization. Which again makes me think that this is like a memory reloading issue because it's like inverse of is doing a memory optimization. So something is happening, it's looking in memory. And so maybe it's somehow doing a reload in this scenario. And that's why the other children are being lost. So it's a pickle.
So inverse of, if declared, one can update related models without explicitly writing update statements.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to understand like why it's used. And like perhaps this is a case where because there's a pull request that got into Rails 7 automatically inverse of with scopes. So perhaps by declaring it, we're messing it up, the automatic behavior.
I think that Maybe, right? That one, I saw that one, and the key thing there is with scopes. So when the relation has a scope on it, which this one doesn't, there's no scope here. But there is an automatic inference of inverse of as well, which
Okay.
we have set to false. Config. Let me do a split here. B has many inversing false. So it has many inversing, I think automatically sets the inverse on a has many relationship. And that is the default, that defaults to true in Rails 7. We have it set to false right now, which is interesting.
Now, is this one of the, could you just blame that? Because I think there's stuff in the config that there was kind of bulk added when we updated to Rails 7 to just maintain the Rails 6 behavior.
Exactly, that's what this was.
Things?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. So nobody has really analyzed this. And that's why I was like, ooh, I'm already in here. Maybe I'll set it to true. But that did not solve this problem. Also, like, yeah, that did not solve this problem. Because if anything, that adds inverse here, right? Whereas we want to take inverse away. That's what solves it, is to have no, you can set inverse of false. So we could add this default and then set inverse of to false on this record on awardable.
Oh, I see. So if you remove it, but you maintain that setting, then it just doesn't do any inverse of at all, and that fixes it.
Yes, exactly. So removing inverse of fixes it.
Right.
And I was just racking my brain for why would this be an issue? The only thing I could find of why this would be an issue, a problem, I should say, on issue instead is, I don't know what order child record attributes are saved in, but is it possible that it's like the order in which they're defined? I don't know, in which they're defined in the class or something.
Could you run your test and we just start poking around?
Yeah, I would love that. Okay, let me make sure. Let me see, where is it? It's in awardable. Okay. And it's on, here we go. So right now it still has inverse of, so this should fail. If it ever starts.
This is how all of our episodes start, isn't it? With waiting for Gitterly to.
Oh my gosh. You'd think that I've probably run this test like 800 times. So you'd think that it would just like be deeply, the computer should just know what to do.
I think it would be engraved in the system on chip memory by now. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, good. Without Spring, it is kind of slow to boot, but I was having to, because I was putting prize in ActiveRecord code, and so Spring was like missing them. I could probably just enable Spring again, but I was so mad at it.
Well, it was doing what you told it to. You told it to cache the code. Did it once.
Not that way. Not that way. Okay. So you'll notice there's 3 examples. So it passes for the first 2 examples, which are merge requests and snippets. But for issue, it expects to have a note, and it does not have a note.
And that's
even if you reload awardable, does it still? If you expect awardable reload notes count to?
Well,
I mean, I don't think it should do anything, but yeah.
I don't think so either. What were you saying, Malcolm? Sorry, I cut you off.
So it's always issue, is it?
It's always issue.
Always issue.
And if you do not add an award emoji, everything else saves perfectly. So it's specific to when there's an award emoji on the issue. Okay, it still fails. Phew, that would have been a really funny conclusion to 1 week of debugging.
Oh, jeez.
Still fails, thank goodness. Okay.
That would have been horrible.
Um,
Yeah.
So can we check like note.all to see if there is a new note?
Yes, I've done this and there's not one, but I'm happy to do it together because it's not real until I've done it with other people. Who knows what I was thinking. Yeah, it's not, it's like the note, because we had called build on the note when we initialized it in the test. So, and it's just being cleared, since we're calling it as a consequence of calling awardable.save, meaning issue.save, it's just getting milled out. So note.all. Well, how many notes do I
the
count?
issue.
I know exactly. We have, yeah, all. Notable type issue.
First one is for issue, one's for merge request. That's weird.
So maybe can you just drop in a little bit earlier with binding and check before you've executed the thing?
Yeah.
What that looks like.
You want to put 2 in so we can see, or we can just.
You can just step, I reckon, and
Yeah.
wherever that takes you.
Okay.
Sometimes a bit of a crapshoot where you end up.
Especially since
Step
this
over.
issue uses state machine, so you go through like state machine code and save for like 20 or 30 frames. It's really fun. I think we can do. So the first, so we'll say what is awardable right now. This is an issue, and we say note is that. So do you want me to run it?
Can you just go like note.all now? So we've got one for an issue already. Where's that come from?
Create queue. No dot first. Oh wait. Is it the first one? No, the first one has no author. So no dot all 0. What? Oh, the other one went away because it was just in memory.
Which one? The one with
Whoa.
notes?
Oh, that was the
That's
one
the
you
one
had
on the
assigned.
awardable that hasn't saved yet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the
Yeah.
one you had in the local variable, just lowercase n note.
Yeah.
I think that was the. Yeah, sorry. Hadn't done it. So where does that one in the database already come from?
Good question. So it looks like notable type is issue, whereas notable ID 10. So issue.find 10. It might just be like there's because what is this
From the merge
issue?
request, maybe?
Do you think the merge request factory might make one? Could we simplify things further and just I know you've got the iteration through the when you're going through the 3 types. Can we just do the one?
Yeah, let's do that. So we just have the one. Run again.
Yeah.
Or make any other changes first.
No, that should be good.
Okay.
See if we still have that note in the database.
Yeah. Okay. Note dot all. Yes.
Where you come from? Where's he come from?
Well, there is another issue. So like awardable.project is that project. Why does it not? Just give me the ID. Oh, the project hasn't been saved yet? So weird.
Why does it have an a note on it then?
Oh, it's not the same. It's a different one. So here we say note.first.project is a different project.
Okay.
Okay.
Why do we have a project? It probably this probably comes from some other factory. Who knows what?
But if why is awardable.project not saved? Is that intentional?
I think it's because, well, I don't know, but I'm guessing that expect factories issues. Probably,
It just calls project.
yeah, so it will create it. So we haven't saved it yet. So I think when you do build, it doesn't create the project, it just like builds a new project. But then the question is, yeah, what in this test is actually creating this? I don't know where this.
So there
other
must be
project comes from.
something, there must be like a let bang or something
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
outside the
that's
test.
probably.
I just don't want to, I want us to have as clean a state as possible for.
Okay. Well, let's create a new file. That's easy. Spec models. This bug is so fun. That gonna be valid? Do. Great. Now we can be free. Yeah, it might be these. Here we go. There we go. That's what it was. Let note.
Right.
Sub relations. Okay. Is that enough ends? Did I get enough? Am I missing one? Yes, missing one. Okay, so context. I think this is enough to get us going here. Let me just close the other file so I don't get confused. Okay, run this guy. These are spec, don't force me to have my spec file named in a certain way. Whoops, sorry about that. Coloring. There you go. Note.all. So there are no notes. We're clean database.
Sweet. Okay.
No projects. Oops, a word emoji. No word emoji. So should we step into save? Great. So first we're gonna be in state machine for a while. And it's gonna freak out at us. Okay, now we're in Rails adapters. Oh, sorry, I did next instead of step. Like that. Again. It's only, state machine's only like maybe 5 to 10 steps. I was exaggerating when I said it was 30, but it is a lot.
It's fine.
I think if you, I don't know if Bybug does it. I think if you hit enter, I think it repeats the last.
Oh, really?
Command. I think so.
Okay. Enter.
No,
but I can just do, I do up arrow. That's fine. Can't find my. Oh, I actually did buy. I didn't. Hold on. Sorry, I have to do Bybug. In theory, binding.pry. I looked at this because we talked about it last time. In theory, binding.pry includes like you can step through, but it doesn't seem to work as well as Bybug.
no. That's one of my pet hates. They seem to change the default debugger in Rails every major release. So I think Rails 7 has got a new one again.
Oh, really? Is it?
Yeah.
It's not binding.irb?
I don't know what it is now. I think it's just debugger or something.
Stone state machine, hold please, hold please. Okay, we're over 5. Now we're stone state machine. Maybe it is 20. I found before the correct source code method in ActiveRecord to put my pry into, but it gets so messy once you start messing with the gems.
Mhm.
Honestly. At first I was like, the bug's gotta be in state machine because wow, a lot's happening in there. Step, 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 step. How long will we go? How long will we go? Okay, good. We just got to the actual ActiveRecord code. So this is just gonna go. We're not in suppressor. We're not in suppressor registry. So it's gonna.
Super.
It's gonna super. Let's just go through there. Okay, so now it's supered up here to ActiveRecord transactions with transaction returning status, and then it's going to super up. So we're going to go through ActiveRecord transactions for a little bit. Cool. Cool. That's fine. Just keep going. This is going to be a little bit of a wait here. Okay.
Did you manage to, you say it was losing the reference to the note.
Mm-hmm.
Did you manage to ascertain exactly where that happens?
Yes. Well, ish. Not if I knew exactly what was happening, then I think I would know the answer to the bug, but yeah, if I put it in right here in insert, so I can do it again. This is taking too long, which it is.
Oh, you just cut that, I think. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me continue out of this and put it there because I think we're gonna have to do it. So insert record. I think it's line 410. Yeah. So at this point, right in this context, in active record active association, self is the issue. So at this point, if I put a bybug here and call self dot notes, the notes are still there. This is, by the way, the method save collection association, which is automatically, it's the method that is invoked by the other method in an active record relation that basically says, okay, save all of the subrelations on this object. So it's being called here for a word emoji, but then like it never ends up getting called for other relations because this call for a word emoji, which I think happens first, nils out all the other subrelations. All the has nannies at least. So I'm gonna bybug there and run this test and we'll see if Spring has truly been stopped. You never know until you try.
I don't know if you've done this already, but I think you can like watch a variable as well.
Whoa, really?
Within
Wow.
bybug. So as you're stepping through, you might be able to watch something and say, oh, look, it's gone.
That is so cool. How do we do that?
Yeah, if you just do help, I think it's like watch or something like that.
Okay. I just want to note that here, so self is the issue. The issue has already been persisted. It has an ID.
Yeah.
And then notes is here. This is the note. And then record in this context is the award emoji. So this is the callback that's happening when it's trying to save the children of the issue. So it's being called right now for award emoji. In theory, it should also be called for notes, but it never happens. So help. How do I watch something? var. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the one? Oh,
Maybe var or trace var. Ah, no, so that just shows, might be trace var.
Enables tracing of global variable.
oh, trace var.
Ooh,
Okay.
if stop is specified, execution will stop every time the variable changes its value.
But we don't
Doesn't-
have a variable. We have, well, we have an association. We have self.notes.
Hmm.
Think that would work?
I don't know. You kind of want really to just watch that value as we step, I would say. Is
Yeah.
self like the same context pretty much all the way through the stack during this, or does it flip around?
It flips around at some point because when we go, so the insert record call is what actually ends up, I think, forgetting the other subrelations. And when you get, that's being called on the association. So once we get into here, we still know who the owner is. Like we have access to a variable called owner, and that is the issue. But and we can get owner.notes there, but the variable name is different. So I was just manually calling owner.notes like at every step, which is infuriating, but
I think you could
know.
potentially, like outside of the scope, you could maybe assign that to a global variable and then watch it inside the debugger. But that's, I think that's the only way I can think of that you can do that.
Okay.
But it's getting very off-piste with bybug for me at this point.
Yeah, that's cool to know you can even do that. I didn't even know that was a possibility, so that's awesome. Cool. Okay, so do you want to step in?
Yeah, where are we again?
Now we're in insert record. So
Yeah.
self is now a has many association. And then in self, and then record is still a word emoji, and then owner is the issue. Owner.notes is still a thing. Let's step into this, set owner attributes. Let's look, what are the options? There's no through. There is an inverse of. There. You didn't really need to do all this. Could have just gone next. Oh, the mistake to go through this. Okay. Yeah. What did I just do? Sorry. Darn. Is this adder name? I don't even know where we are anymore. Awardable ID. Okay. This was a mistake. Come back, come back, come back. Come back into the association. Come on. One wrong step and you're off to the, okay. So here we go. So now we have owner.notes, still a thing, record. What is a reflection.type? A reflection.type, awardable type. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna actually next out of this method because I don't think you need to do this. Record right attribute. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Here. Okay. So we want to step into super of insert record. And so let's just go again. Record owner.notes. So we still got notes at this point. Now let's go into the next level of insert record. So this is that was in has many associations, and then this is supering up to collection association, which is like the super class of has many. Still got our record. And it's just calling record.save. We've got this again. This one. Okay, now it's supered up to ActiveRecord transactions. Where it's gonna again call save. A lot of fun stuff. Request store. Connection proxy. Don't care, don't care, don't care. Okay, wow. Wow, wow, wow. I don't think it's any of this.
I admire your persistence to have gone through
All this
this
sharding.
hard existence.
Oh my gosh, it's so insane. And there's a time when I was like, what if it's like a threading issue? And it's like, no, it's definitely just related to inverse of. So I don't even know why I'm in here, but like, you know, just gotta see if you see something. Okay, we're almost out. We're almost out. We're almost out. Okay, not in connection.
We've almost got a connection.
We've almost got the connection. We got to get to the pool. We got to handle it. Pool, fork, fork, pool, pool, pool. Okay, my gosh.
Makes you appreciate all the stuff we go through. Just to...
What was that?
That was me just accidentally clicking
Oh.
something. I think I don't even know what I did. I actually don't know what that was. Owner.notes. Oh, there's no owner.
Oh, okay.
Because there's no owner, and this is like we're deep in some weird place. And the transaction. Why?
Does pressing
why,
enter
why?
work? Does pressing enter work?
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so smart. You're so smart. Oh my God. Okay. We're so close. We're so close. We're falling back to replicas. We're in the session. We're in request store. Wow, this enter thing is really mind blowing. So great. So great. Okay.
It's going to make you way faster for the next week of work that you're going to do.
Oh my gosh, don't even say no. You should see it. The first like 3 days, I was honestly like in a very deep depression about all of this because I was debugging this by doing an import of an entire GitLab project, which takes 2 hours.
Right.
Oh
So
man.
10 times I ran a process that takes 2 hours. And then once I figured out how to write an RSpec test for it, it was like the clouds parted, the sun came down. I was like, okay.
You've got to be close at this point. Like once
Yes.
you can reproduce it like that, it's yeah.
Yeah, you'd think. Like, why am I back here? Why am I back here doing this? I already did all this part. Just let me connect. I appreciate you all just watching this happen. Okay. I think we're getting somewhere. Nope, we're in load balancing still. Darn.
Restore session. Yeah.
Oh, here. Didn't realize this happened for so long. I don't really like know that much about concurrency.
Turns out it wasn't the state machine with 50 frames. It was the database pooling.
Yeah, geez. Thank you to whoever maintains this code. It's obviously doing a lot that I never have to think about. Okay. But like, why so many times? How many? Reading? Like, what is? No, I don't even care. Okay, we're in a validation. Wow. Wow. Okay. Options. Validate true. Great.
Context.
in
Just no context.
self, owner. There's no owner. Oh, so self is the word emoji now. Interesting. So it still hasn't been saved. I suppose in this context, now that we've been taken into, we're finally in the save method in ActiveRecord validations. We no longer know who the owner of this record is in this particular context. Although Rails must have some idea, otherwise
It has an
how
awardable ID. right?
Awardable ID is 14. Awardable type
Okay.
Yeah.
issue.
Awardable. Oh, you're right. But we don't have access to it in memory in terms because the note hasn't been saved yet. So we don't have a way of knowing whether this awardable, like we want to be able to access the
So
version.
the awardable is nil, is it here? Did you already do that?
It was never, well, in this context, it was first self. And then in the context of the ActiveRecord collection, it was known as the owner. So we had owner and record. So first we had self, like the issue with self. Then we went into the ActiveRecord collection association. And that self was the collection, it's the association itself, but it had access to both the owner and the
But
the
does this
owner.
one not have does this one not have access to awardable?
I don't believe it does because I think in this context, self is just the award emoji itself, and the awardable.
Well, the
we left
awardable's the
behind.
polymorphic, right? Isn't it? So that should.
We can do like awardable. We can do like issue dot
Self.awardable.
find.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, self dot awardable. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's true.
And then that's saved.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was saved before we even got here. Then the save call on the issue happens first.
Yeah, and then it does the associations.
Exactly. Then it saves the associations. And ActiveRecord's smart, it seems like if you have a validation on the parent that it has to have the child, like it knows to not fire that until after the children have been saved or something. Like it does interesting stuff. This is all in the context of just calling issue.save. But the transaction that actually saves the database call actually saves the issue has already happened. Now we're saying the awardable, and then the note is still here. So that actually is in memory self.awardable, not notes, still here. So that's good news.
Should probably have been tracking object IDs. Have you done that? Have you tracked object IDs?
I did at some point. I did that at some point, but I didn't do it right now, which is annoying.
That's okay.
But it does, the fact that now we can do it because we still have the note, so we know that right now in this moment, this awardable still knows who its note is, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we can step into here. Okay. Let's step into there. It is a new record. Oh yeah, I don't need that. Okay.
It's not getting cleared by validations, is it?
I don't think so. No validations fail. Like there are no errors on it.
Right.
But we'll step into our validations now. We'll get to see how many validations are on an issue. I'm sure that's fine. Curious. Not actually that many. I do self dot awardable dot note. Okay.
Did you set importing on the object?
Did I set importing? No.
Okay.
Oh, did I? I can't remember. I did. No,
I
I
saw
don't.
it somewhere. I saw it
I
somewhere
did
when
see
we
it.
were.
Yeah. I had to set it somewhere because there was some validation that like failed in a non-importing context, but that
Right.
shouldn't affect it, I don't think. Because it's, yeah, I don't know. So what is env here? Oh, interesting. So there's a target, which is the award emoji. I assume this is just filter. So this is a presence validator, making sure there's a user on it. So it's just like going through and validating this. I'm kind of annoyed I went over that. Oh, override target. I guess that's fine. I was wondering if there could be a call like this where like, what if method name is like awardable and it's like overriding?
Hmm.
So what are attributes? There's just user. Okay, so we're still just dealing with user. Still user, yeah. Hmm. So what are we looking at now? What attribute is this? Still user, all right. Still user.
And record is still the award emoji, is it? Yeah.
Oh, is it
Oh,
record
sorry,
or?
that was in the last frame.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Self
Stop record here.
have we still got audible.notes? Yeah. We really need to use this bybug thing, I think, too. If we can assign that to a global variable and then track the global variable for changes.
Okay.
Like I'm way outside my comfort zone here, but I feel like if we could do that, then possibly we could just let it run and it will break out when.
With the stop option we saw
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting
Okay, so
concept.
do we break out of this now? After all we've been through?
So far through the labyrinth, it feels. I
We're
don't
so
know.
far. We're so deep. We're so deep. Well, we have to run in a minute anyway. So, but
Yeah.
I like that
That's true.
idea of setting, that's a good kind of next step idea for, so you think in the code,
Yeah, I think if you assign that, like I think you can use dollar variable name, right, to make a global
Oh,
in
would
Ruby.
an alternative be to check if it still has the note, and if not, then bybug.
Well, but the question is, where do you check that, right? Like I would want
Yeah.
to check that through every frame,
Hmm.
but I can't put a bybug in every frame. That sounds more time consuming than stepping through.
Yeah.
If that's
True.
if that's the point where yeah, I think if you can put that into a global. So what happens
I
to
need
it?
to
Does
run.
it just become an empty collection, or
It's yeah, so our bybug is right here. We're inside this 418. When I get to here, then notes is nil.
so
somewhere
somewhere in there?
Somewhere in insert record. And in this context, yeah, exactly. So because in this context, self is the issue, and so self.notes exists on 417 and is an empty array on 419.
Yeah, I reckon that's probably a good approach then.
Okay, great.
Um,
Well, this has been great then. Thank you. Thank you for suffering with me.
Please let us know.
I ever solve it. I mean, it's hard to feel motivated because it's like I know how to fix it, right? But I still would like to understand the underlying bug.
Yeah.
It might result in a change, an ActiveRecord patch if we can truly understand it.
Yeah. So it could be ActiveRecord bug, but I think it's always my first thought is always it's probably our code. It's most likely.
But like you shouldn't expect that Inversa would nil out other records. That's an unexpected side
No.
effect of our code.
No. Yeah, that's weird. And like always just the issue.
Just an
Never
issue
any of the
and
others.
never any other so far. So weird.
Does it matter which emoji it is? I remember seeing something in the other issue.
No, that was a spring issue. Yeah. So I was at one point convinced it was
Okay.
specific to thumbs up, and then if I change it to clapping, but that was a spring issue where like spring started
Okay.
passing. Yeah. That
I
threw
wish
me
it
off
had
guard.
been.
That's why I jokingly put every kind of thumb emoji I saw on that issue. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Just some emotional support.
I'll keep you all updated. Thank you for looking at this. Hopefully next week we can work on something that doesn't involve this much DB bybugging. Some is good. This much too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, folks.
All right.
Bye.
Thumbs
See
up
you again.
for keeping your sanity through all that. Doing that a whole week. Yeah.
Bye.
What's left of it. Bye.